Nick, I have had the pleasure of covering this gentleman, this young man in the NBL. And I think his story is probably the closest story to mine in the NBL. So I fell in love with him. And his perseverance, all the challenges that he's been through, and the ability to bet on yourself and win is nothing easy. It's not an easy feat. And for him to be able to have done that, I loved him that much more.
Yeah.
Without him even knowing. Every time I got on TV, I spoke about him.
Yeah, you've been talking about him for a while.
Who's signing him?
Yeah.
This might have been like 3 years ago. Time flies. This is year 7 for me in the NBL. So to have him on the show with us, it is an absolute pleasure because I really want, like, I don't know the story. I know a tad bit about it, so I want to dive deep into who this man is and his story.
And hear it from him himself.
Hear it from him.
Yeah.
And give it its just due.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm talking again about none other than South East Melbourne Phoenix point guard / guard, Ben Ayre. Ben, what's up, my brother?
What's up, guys?
Yeah. What's happening?
Hello up, man. Just listening to you guys, and yeah, man, it's just a big honor to be here on this podcast.
Man, the honor's ours, actually, because like Corey said, man, you've got a really inspirational story, and I think, your story and how you got to where you are, not just basketball players. I think, people from all walks of life can relate to that because, we've all got dreams, no matter what industry or no matter what career we're in, we've all got dreams. And, everyone's path to the top or to their goal is not always linear. It's not always a straight line.
For sure.
And people got to maneuver and do what they got to do. So I think a lot of people can relate to your story and maybe apply, how you've gotten to where you are to their own lives and hopefully succeed as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy story, but like you said, it's never linear. I mean, it can be linear for some guys.
For some,
but,
yeah, I think that's the minority of guys, have got that sort of. And I'm not saying that it's easier, but it's just more of a straighter line to the thing. Whereas the majority of people don't have that. They've got obstacles. Everything just comes in front of them. They've got to find another way to get to where they got to go.
For sure.
So tell the listeners, where you from?
So I'm from Melbourne. I grew up in McKinnon and played my basketball for McKinnon Basketball Club. But yeah, which is like 20 minutes down the road, not far. So I'm born and raised in Melbourne and played all my hoop here.
How old are you?
28 now. Just
28. What time? What year did you get your first contract in the NBL?
So this is only my second year. So last year was my first fully rostered contract. So I was 26 when I signed my first fully rostered.
26.
Yeah.
I want everybody to hear that. For him to play in the second best league in the world, behind the NBA, in my opinion, he got his deal at 26. So it's never too late. I got my shot with Toronto Raptors at 27.
Yeah.
It's never too late. Duop Reef just got a shot in the NBA at 27.
Yeah.
Shout out to him for getting the 3-year deal with Portland. You know what I mean? Got in the game, got his opportunity, took full advantage of it. What made you play hoop?
I mean, I'm the youngest of 4, so I've always been around basketball. All my siblings played. My brother was pretty good in like the Melbourne scene at the time, so I was just always around it and just love hoop. I played footy as well growing up, but just didn't feel the same love. Like I feel like I was equally as good at both sports, but basketball was just, it was just something different for me, and I felt a different love for it than I did for footy. So yeah, just kept going with that.
Do you think if you'd continued with footy, you would have been able to sort of...
Nah, we ain't talking footy on this show. Shout out to footy. I fuck with
question,
footy.
just a quick question.
I'm a Essendon Bomber man. And I know people give me grief for that, but I'm a Essendonian. But here...
No footy.
We ain't talking no footy on this one. No doubt. So, this is the story that I know. Okay? This is a gentleman who, for whatever reason, knocking on the door, couldn't get in. The door didn't open up. He somehow contacts Adam Ford goes to Cairns, not on the roster, as a practice player. Either you drove to Cairns in your car, got a job, practiced every day. Players got injured. He now gets on the roster and begins playing and gets his opportunity. First time I saw him play, Melbourne United in Melbourne. Ben Ayre drops 22, like 9 dimes, like 6 rebounds, couple of steals.
10 dimes.
10 dimes.
Get it right, Corey.
Double against the number 1 team in the league.
Yeah.
I saw that. I went crazy. Any of the things that I said about getting to Cairns, was that correct?
Yeah. Mind you, a lot of that, I mean, the story from way, way back. So that's just to make the NBL, I guess. That's the entry into it. Previous to that, I spent a year in Adelaide at the 36ers. I was a development player. And that's when Joey Wright was there. He was
right. Joey reached out to me. Right.
And
so
Joey,
that's you, his guy.
Joey,
shout out to Joey.
Shout out to Joey for sure. He's a massive driver in my career. And the way I actually met Joey was at do you know a 5-star camp in America?
Yeah.
So they brought that out to Australia. I would have been about 14 years old. And I went to that 5-day camp, American coaches. I'm like, great. Because Australian coaches don't fuck with me, so I'm going to go see what the Americans are, what they're talking about.
Right.
And Joey was the coach of the Blaze at the time, Gold Coast Blaze.
Right.
And he was one of the coaches there. We get there on the first day, we're doing like a ball handling drill. Ball handling was kind of my specialty growing up. He noticed me out of like a crowd of maybe 200-300 kids.
Which would be easy to notice in Australia with ball handling.
Sure.
Because everybody here is fundamentally sound. They don't have that, that shit with them.
Right. And he was just like, come to the gym tomorrow morning. Mind you, the camp's at 9 till 5 pretty much. He's like, get to the gym tomorrow at 6 a.m. We're going to work out. I'm like, all right, cool. Go to the gym, get there at 6 a.m. Joey's already there waiting for me. We work out for an hour and a half before this 9 to 5 camp.
5-star, right.
And we did that for 4 days straight, for the next 4 days. Shout out to Adonis Jordan, too. He was another guy that was there.
Shout out to Adonis Jordan.
Yeah.
He was working me out as well with Joey a little bit. And then me and Joey just created a relationship from there. He kind of rocked with me ever since. I flew up to the Blaze. He flew me up to Gold Coast when I was like 15 just to be around the NBL squad. Once I went to college, I went to JUCO Division II. So you're naturally going to get 0 looks in the NBL coming out of that. Joey was a head coach at Adelaide, brought me in as a DP. I still got an issue with him because I never played an actual real minute that year. But we were stacked, we had a lot of DPs, great DPs too. And then I went to Europe for a little bit. This is kind of brushing through this during COVID because Joey obviously got fired, and then the rest of the guys who he brought in kind of just went aside with him in Adelaide. So that was one of me. I didn't hear from him, nothing, so I had no idea what I was doing. Went to Lithuania, played Division II in Lithuania for like 5 months.
The grind, baby.
That's the grind. That's definitely the grind. You know, you're playing for pennies too. You're not getting anything. And you're away from your family. But yeah, it's still amazing. I learned a lot about myself in Lithuania. That journey was super underestimated, I think, in my own story. Even for me, I just brush over it. Like, I went to Lithuania, but I learned a lot of shit about myself over there. And even basketball-wise, I really realized how much I love the game. I'm like, I'm over here playing for, $1,000 a month, and I'm away from family during Christmas time, this, that. Like, okay, I need to make this happen.
I got to make it work.
Yeah, I got to make this happen. I came back, and I kind of had nothing. And Joey was the one who ended up making a call. A few pieces moved up in Cairns, like on the back end of their roster with DPs and stuff. He ended up making a call to 40. And 40 called me and was just like, we're going to treat you like a player. You're going to get all the stuff all the main guys get, but we just don't have money for you. And I'm like, nah, fuck, like, who cares? What's the worst case is I go up and I enjoy Cairns, like the place for life. And it's just going to be another challenge where I meet new people, work a job. Maybe I like the job up there and I can just work the job, You never know. You never know what's going to happen. But from a basketball point of view, it gives me a space where I can go up. I can still work on my game. I can be around professionals. And I can just continue my hoop dream, It can live on 6 months longer. That was kind of the mindset. I was not thinking, let's go up there and like, I'm not breaking down the roster like who's going to miss out. I'm going to play. I'm going to take this spot. It really wasn't even that deep for me. I'm just like, I just want to go up there and have a space to hoop, basically. And then funny thing with that story too, so guys went injured early on in this year, and 40 would say this too. Scott was injured. Machado.
Machado.
He was injured early in the year.
Shout out to Scott, my bro.
Shout out to Scott. Super
Right.
nice. Tough hooper. Taught me a lot too, just being around him. But he got injured early in the year, and I was playing decent at training, and 40 was kind of like priming me basically to play, and he ended up telling me like, well, he never actually told me you're gonna play, but it was going that way. I was like in the starting group.
You could see it, yeah.
And the same day on that practice, me and Keanu were in a rebounding drill, clashed knees, and I fractured my knee.
Oof.
On the day. This is like in week 4 or something like that. So I fractured my knee and I'm out for like 2-3 months. And 40's like, we're not paying you, so you can stay up here and do the rehab, or you can go home and do the rehab. I know it's tough being up here, rehabbing for nothing. You got a job to do as well, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stick it out. Did all my rehab up there. Didn't train for like 2-3 months in the middle of that season. And then came back. And then towards the end of the year, it was the same thing again. And unfortunately, Machado got injured again. Zimmerman was the import at the time, got injured again.
Right.
And then, just spaces started opening up, and they had a little bit of money here and there. And, he's like, fuck it. We couldn't make the playoffs, so he was just like, fuck it, I'm going to start you. I remember we were coming back from a trip. I think I went to Tassie, didn't play. Well, I played a little bit. Scored my first bucket, official bucket, at the end of a game against New Zealand. But it's in Tassie, so there's no one there.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah, the COVID.
And we're flying back, and Scott had hurt himself in that game, and we're playing United at home. So it was a doubleheader on the Sunday. And we stop over in Brisbane for the layover, and 40 just comes up to me and he's like, hey, I'm going to start you next game. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm going to start you. And then just walked off. I'm like, fuck.
I fucking love 40, yo. 40 a real one.
He is. He's like, and then so we went out, and that was my first start, and I'm going against Delhi, Shea, and he's like, dude, as soon as this ball, I wish I had the clip of it on my phone, but he's like, as soon as that ball gets tipped, they're gonna win the tip. Delhi's gonna get it. I want you to just sprint at him and just dog him up the court, foul him, make the refs call a foul. So I went and did that, and they just didn't call a foul. I think I have a photo of it. I've damn near got Delhi in a headlock. Trying to hack at the ball, man. I'm trying to hack at it. I felt bad, man. Actually, I didn't feel bad at all.
Hey, that's something Delhi would do himself, actually.
Right.
For sure. But that's the thing. It's like when you're trying to get that start, it's like whatever this guy's going to tell me to do, I'm going to go do it.
I'm doing it.
And also, that's a point of difference, I think, which ended up being my tag I got kind of in Cairns. It was like I'd come in, pick up full court, be a dog, and like 40 kind of set that tone for me from that very first game that I played. It was like, you just go pick him up. And now instantly I'm known for that from the Cairns crowd. That's how they know me, and they related very well to that, guys who just go out, play hard.
Right.
So that's just an added thing to that story with getting injured pre in the like early.
That's crazy.
Like, it would have
in
probably
that
come
year.
earlier. Yeah. I could have been playing longer. Maybe that whole year I could have been playing way more. But
it all works out the way it needs to.
It was perfect. Yeah. It was perfect.
Was there ever any moment where, like you said, you've been through so much, Lithuania and Adelaide, and then the injury and all that sort of stuff. Was there ever a moment where you just thought, shit, this isn't going to happen for me?
Hell yeah, for sure. There was so many times. Coming out of college, I'm like, I'm at a D2.
Where did you play? JUCO?
JUCO, I was at Skagit Valley, it's in Washington State.
Washington State. So I played D2 JUCO.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Penn Valley Community College.
What school?
Penn Valley Community College.
Yeah, I know Penn Valley. Because I went to...
We won a couple of chips.
My Division II school was Newman, which is in Kansas.
Okay,
Wichita.
Yeah, you would know. Where we in Missouri, right?
Yeah,
down the
right
road.
there. Yeah.
Basically.
But yeah, I mean, going to college, it's like... I see all my friends are at Division I schools. Everything I see about the NBL guys returning, coming back, it's all like either Center of Excellence guys or D1 guys. So I'm like, there's no chance. Where the fuck am I gonna? Yeah.
How am I gonna do this?
Where do I fit? Me? You know what I mean? Where do I fit? But again, this is a massive shout out to Joey. He always kind of held me down, told me different things. If you're good enough, they're eventually gonna find you. Things like that just always stuck with me. Focus on the process. Don't focus on results. And to this day, same advice sits true. And so, yeah.
Was Joey, sorry, C-Dub, was Joey that, and again, like I said, your story, I think a lot of people can relate to it, right? So I left Australia in 2012. I wanted to go to America, cover the NBA, work for ESPN, right? And I had the same thing, obstacles, and I'm struggling and I'm hustling and, all that sort of stuff. And I had points where I thought it was never going to happen for me either. And I was lucky that I had a good support system back home of friends like always giving me like support. And yeah, man, just keep at it. And especially this guy over here, Corey, he knows my story better than anyone. He'd come back over to New York and man, there was times where I was like, man, fuck this, I want to go home.
Yeah.
And he kept sort of inspiring me and motivating me not to give up, especially with how far I'd come.
Mm-hmm.
Was Joey that guy for you, or did you have other people as well that sort of inspired and motivated you to keep going at it?
I think Joey was that guy for me in the basketball world in terms of like he's in touch with where the top NBL guys are or what I need to be. So he always gave me faith that like, dude, you are good enough. You just like your size, you need to get bigger, you need to do this. Like he was just always giving me faith that like your talent and your skill level and your mindset, you will eventually make the NBL one day. Don't even stress about that. Like he used to ease my mind in terms of that. Like just keep working, keep being you, do this, do that. But then, like, I have a very tight-knit family. So my brother was massive for me. My mom, my dad, massive. My two sisters, like, every day talking. You know, they're my best. My family is my best friends. So, in terms of life and just, like, keeping me stable, my family was equally as important as Joey. But, you know, in terms of my career in basketball, he was definitely that guy for me.
Obviously, the game that changed everything. It changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
Melbourne United. I got to keep going back to this
sure.
because that's when I first really saw you like
yeah.
really do your thing, right? Going into that game, knowing who's defending you and all of these things, knowing Melbourne United and all of that. After doing what you did, the way you played, what was the emotions like for you? Because I'll give you an example. I get this shot with Toronto from the playground, from Rucker Park.
Mm-hmm.
I go there, and I'm barely playing. Like, you know, they're not going to play the guys at the end. They play in their rotation preseason. You know, I get an opportunity to get in the game, and we play against the Nets. This is when Vince Carter just got traded. So, you know, he's with the Nets. We playing in Toronto. And we playing in Toronto. I finished that game in 9 minutes. We go to overtime. I finished that game with, like, I think 11 points, like 4 assists, 3 steals, couple rebounds, and we win. And I go in the locker room, and you know the media's there interviewing me, blah 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 blah. But when they left, like I started crying because it's like I knew I could do this shit, man.
Mm.
I just never had the opportunity. But I knew if someone gave me a chance, like a real chance,
You're taking it.
I could do this. How did you feel after that game in that locker room?
The funny thing is, and I still to this day probably haven't like had a real reflection on that game or these moments that have been happening for me. But I've just always felt like it's a little bit crazy, man. But I've just always felt like this kind of like almost anger, you know, from these previous years of like not being in the NBL, knowing that I've been in the NBL, watching guys play on TV that I know I'm better than, and all these things. So even after that game, it wasn't even like I've never felt this sense of like relief or like, hell yeah, bro, I've made it, this, that. It's like, I've just always been like, nah, fuck this, man. I'm just going to double down.
Yeah.
I need to prove more now because it's like, I don't want to just be 20-10 that one game. You played well. It's a really cool story for you and you rode the bench at Cairns for a year and now you're out of the league. Cool, you know? It's like, I don't know. I've just always had that in my mind and like a little bit, not scared, but like this anxiety about like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that just like little
one and done type of
yeah,
thing. Like you had one good game and then
cool story. It's a crazy story and it helps me relate with people and meet cool people like you guys, and Joey and 40 and these people that I can relate to. But I've never felt like, I don't know. I've never felt like I've had an emotional release or like a moment like that where I've been like, holy shit, this is crazy what I'm doing. I feel like I'm just in it right now. So,
yeah, you're in it. You're in it
so
right
it's hard,
now.
you know what I mean? It's hard to have that reflection.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
maybe when you're retired, you can look back on that and
potentially. Oh, definitely.
But
I would hope so.
But you're a long way from being retired. So
Yeah.
So, after the following year, you signed a 1-year deal with Cairns.
Yep.
And you had a solid season, especially like you stepped up big. I remember when everybody thought Cairns was going to fall off. Y'all went undefeated when Keanu got injured.
Yeah.
You played a hell of a role during that span. I think it was like 5 games or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, this dude is here to stay. He's showing the whole league. He's quality. He's a legit backup. and he can score and play D consistently. How did you feel during that stretch?
Yeah, I think that stretch, I felt that stretch gave me more confidence than that 2010 game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
you said, it was more like I can now play at a high level consistently. I'm not having these one game over here, 5 games of nothing, one game over here, 5 games of down. You know, it was more. I could see myself being like, and also when you get that constant, you're going against these guys and you're outplaying some dudes for 5 games in a row. It's like, okay, now I'm definitely
I'm
supposed
here.
to be. Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Not only am I here though, but like
I
these guys
belong.
are, you know, like I can do this every single night if
Yeah.
I really want to, if I have
Yeah.
the chance, if I prepare properly, if I do this, and this, if I really take care of what I'm trying to do and put my mind to it, there's no way that I can be outplayed ever.
Right.
You know what
I
mean?
understand. Right.
So I think that was more those stretches. That stretch in particular was probably bigger for me than that one game.
Yeah, man. Like that's when I began. Like I was a cheerleader from the jump,
Yeah.
right? But that season, I was like, yo, there's no way. Like he's better than current backups that are getting a lot of minutes.
Mhm.
He deserves to be a legit backup, not third string, backup.
Yeah.
Your import come out, put me in. I got this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, anywhere I could say it, Ben Ayre, sign Ben. Somebody better sign him. Somebody better sign him. How incredible did it feel for the offer to South East Melbourne? You back home.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Yeah.
Where did
was
that
crazy.
come about? Were there any other offers?
Yeah, that was a crazy moment, especially because that was my first time going through that free agency period, and that was
Who's your agent?
crazy. Solomon Deck, shout out.
Oh,
Solomon.
Solomon Deck. That's
Yeah,
what's up.
Deck.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Solomon Deck.
Solo, that's my guy.
Prior to the South East Melbourne thing, right? Sorry to sort of cut off the answer
good.
there, but did that open your eyes to the business of basketball, though, when Cairns didn't pick up the option to bring you back? That kind of make you realize, all right, I may be playing good, but this is also a business here, and teams are going to be pretty ruthless in their, decision making on who they keep and who they move on.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, basketball's always just been for me. Like I always just picture it as a game, and I love it. This, that. Even going through those Cairns situations, there was a little bit of part of it where I was like, okay, this is businessy here and there, but yeah, that was definitely my first real, like, I guess in and seeing how businessy it can be, and like it's not all about you just playing good or this, that. There's a lot of shit behind the back, like numbers and this and money and all blah 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 that I have no idea about, and a lot of uncontrollables for you. So, yeah. What was it? What was I getting at?
Yeah,
How did
Oh,
it
that
feel?
feeling.
Phoenix came to you to recruit you, to offer you a deal, or were there any other clubs interested?
Yeah, there was a few. Again, that's another thing where you go through free agency and you start hearing this guy's in a free. Like, there's a bunch of dudes that year who were in my position, Australian and imports, who were free agents or floating around. And it's like, we're waiting for this guy. Solo's telling me, clubs are gonna wait for this guy to go first. They want this guy first, this guy. So it's like you start to get I was able to get like an easy look at the list of where I was at of priorities
Right.
in my position, especially. So I'm like, there's no fucking way they're looking at this guy before me. And so I'm feeling like that, So
Right.
again, more fuel for this.
fuel,
year,
right,
for that.
right.
But again, just from a gratefulness point of view, it was incredible. It was a super stressful month that I had where I wasn't signed, or it might have even been longer. Playing NBL 1, you're trying to like go out and have 50 every night
To let people know, like,
But they
yo,
don't
I'm
really-
here.
They also don't really care that much about what you're doing in the NBL
What you
1.
doing
So
there?
it was stressful, but it was kind of like a perfect situation too, coming home. And yeah, just having the opportunity. Again, more guys go down a little bit this year and getting more opportunity. And yeah, to me, it's also interesting having Mike Kelly, that is someone who like believes in me so much. This is now kind of like, there's probably like 4 guys in the NBL community that I feel have doubled down on me and believed in me and taken my career to another place. So like earlier you were talking about going to the gym, and you're better at going to the gym with someone. For me, it's like you can go and you can hoop and you can play and you can be this all the time, but if you don't have someone there kind of, guiding you, vouching for you, your career can kind of get stagnant very quickly.
Yep.
So for me, like Joey was the first guy, and then he doubled down on me. Second guy, 40. doubled down on me. Next guy was you in the league commentating. Like no one sees that game, or that game doesn't get anywhere near the same amount of coverage that it does. My name doesn't get as much coverage as it does if it wasn't for you, and you doubling down on that. And now for me, it's Mike. And the interesting thing is that other than 40, you guys are all American.
Right.
But 40 also didn't come from, to me, he's not a typical Australian coach at all. He's
he isn't.
he's the same as us. He came from fucking nothing in terms of the basketball world. I had to grind his way through.
To grind. I remember he was at Perth.
Yeah.
And even before that, you know what I mean?
It's interesting to me to see those 4 people that have doubled down and believed on me the most.
Are non-Aussies.
Yeah, non-Aussies, man. So, and that's how my junior career went. I didn't play shit in juniors because there was no American coaches around. There's no
right.
And I just think my mentality and my play style and the way I play relates to. It just makes sense that that 4 people for me are the ones that relate to me the most, and I relate to the most, and have given me the biggest opportunity and the biggest leap in my career.
Speaking of mentality, I heard you on another podcast. I think it was Annie Lee Maley's one, where you were talking about how you were treating practice, because you weren't really playing in the games. You were treating practice like your games. Like you were like, all right, I'm going in there and I'm going to kill. Where did that mentality come from?
Shit. I think I just like hoops, man. Like I just really love playing. I don't really want to take it for granted. It still blows my mind every day that I get to play basketball as a job, you know what I mean? Like I just never really want to take that for granted. And I don't know, I think it's just stayed with me since I was a kid. I just have always been around that type of environment. And then when I went to Cairns, it was also just like it helped me be in that environment because like I'm playing with Taj, Tajim McCall, like dude's going hard every day. Lap man, going hard every day. All of us are going in there and we're just talking trash to each other, going at it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not a weirdo for coming into practice and talking trash. I'm not weird or crazy for coming in and playing hard. Like these guys are all doing the same thing. And it just it just made me want to keep doing it more and more. And but I think in terms of practice and mentality, it's just respect for the game. I think whether I'm playing on a Saturday night in front of 10,000 people or we're playing pickup on a Monday morning at practice 5-on-5, to me it should be the same.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Same intensity.
Hard.
Yeah,
go hard.
Yeah. So I think I don't know. That's just stay with me.
No, just because you don't see that, especially among the Australian players, you don't really. Or maybe it's true, and I just haven't seen it personally or heard about it. But I just feel like because it's a cultural thing too. Whereas I know the American players do that. Whereas I've never heard of any stories of like the Aussie guys coming in and be like, I'm killing it in practice.
Also, you would relate to this junior college.
Oh man!
Like I think that's
JUCO.
Like, yeah, it's a pit.
That's a job.
It's a dog pit right there.
That's a job because there's so much talent coming from so many different places. You got 2 years to try to get a 4-year scholarship. You know what I mean? And it's like guys are coming in there with all kind of problems, but they nice in ball.
Yeah.
Some guys just didn't have the grades, but they nice in ball. Yeah. So they end up at JUCO. Some guys just need to develop more after high school, and they get to JUCO. And it's like, you got to figure this shit out. You got 2 years. If you're playing.
Yeah.
I didn't get no burn my freshman year, my first year at JUCO. None. We won the chip. My second year, all those good players, they all left. And the new coach came in and was like, yo, here's the ball, it's you. I did everything but win a chip. First team All-American. I did everything. And we lost in the chip to go back to back. But like, it's a grind. Like, that shit might as well be like G League.
Yeah.
Straight.
I think the thing is too, everyone is trying to get somewhere in that.
Everybody. Yo, dude, you got 2 years. If it don't work, oh well.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. And it's limited spots too. You know what I mean? It's not like there's 60 guys, so yeah.
And now you come out to Australia or you're in Australia and maybe say, for example, in the NBL, not everyone is trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, guys are here and they know they're going to be here. They're going to make their money, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing
That's
wrong
their
with that.
mentality, right.
That can suppress that mentality of you're trying to get somewhere else. And then your training might not be, you don't approach training the same way or depends. But I mean, I have no idea what that mentality feels like. I hope I never do.
Yeah.
Never ever. That don't ever find out what that mentality is like because that just means you're slipping and going backwards. how proud of you, how proud of you, how proud of, sorry, how happy and proud is your family of you?
I think, man, I don't even think I could put it into words. Obviously, they would have to explain it themselves. But like, I see my dad get emotional all the time at games. He's an emotional guy, but
My boy out there playing, baby, and he home.
for sure.
My baby boy out there hooping.
Yeah,
And he ain't just on the bench.
yeah,
He playing.
yeah. And then my brother, same, man. He kind of, like, I think through my basketball career, lives vicariously through me. And then my sisters are the same. They just, the support's crazy.
Beautiful, man.
And, yeah, I can't really thank them enough, and definitely wouldn't be where I am without any of them. But also why it's so special playing here in Melbourne. It's so cool to play 14 home games in front of them versus playing 2 last year, you know what I mean? So, crazy experience.
What's one thing this version of yourself would tell the younger version of yourself if you could?
Sounds so boring, but just keep going. Like, just
It's
keep
the
going,
truth,
bro.
though, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, just don't.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the mental side of it is everything, I think. Like, one, keep going, and two, just don't lose your love for hoop. You know what I mean? Like, even if it doesn't happen, you shouldn't feel a type of way towards the game because it didn't happen. Like, situations and timing is absolutely everything. So sometimes it just doesn't happen. And I would hope that if I wasn't in this position right now, I would still be working out, still be hooping, still have my foot in the game somehow, whether it's teaching kids, moving, you know what I mean? Like something. So, main thing, keep going. Second thing, just don't lose your love for the game.
Man, Ben, it's been a pleasure. I could talk to you for a whole nother hour or two.
Hell yeah.
And I just want to tell you, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been waiting for this opportunity to interview you because I know that your story is special. And we want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You know, this is episode 4, and I know for sure this will be our best interview yet. You know, so thank you. And I know you got shit to do, but thanks for coming on the show, man. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I just want to say a quick thank you to you guys for having me, giving me a platform to speak about my story, and especially, Corey, for you, man, just sharing my story every day. I've missed you this here in the booth, bro. They don't want to talk about me, man. But I appreciate you, man. And also hearing you speak last night about one day at a time is super powerful. And I think a lot of people can take that into whatever they're doing in their life. But that's a massive, massive thing. Props to you. And,
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks. Thank
Much
you, man.
love, B.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Ben Ayre, baby.